This presentation is brought to you by the Beljanski Foundation. Over 50 years of research towards curing cancer the natural way.
Good afternoon. Wow, what a pleasure to be here. Emil Haldey, I'm a pharmacist, Alex mentioned, and today I'm going to talk to you about heavy metal toxicity. Our bodies are the most amazing machine ever created. It's intended to give us joy, love, happiness, and fulfillment in life. But as I'm sure you've heard, a healthy person has 1,000 desires, but a sick person, only one, to get better. In January 2017, I was diagnosed with mercury toxicity, and I was diagnosed in the most unlikely way. My wife and I are very much into the self-development, growth, and learning in the next steps in life. And we spent a year traveling with Tony Robbins as platinum partners. If you know Tony Robbins is a well-known, world-renowned life coach, philanthropist, author, entrepreneur, and just a beautiful person. And during that time, Tony himself was struggling with mercury toxicity. So that alerted me and pushed me to go to my doctor and say, please test me for mercury. And the answer I got was very interesting. I do not know how. And I have an amazing doctor, brilliant doctor. After researching how to test, he said, well, let me draw your blood. A couple of weeks later, he calls me up and says, Emil, you are highly toxic. Your blood levels are 31, normal is 5 or below. But here's the caveat. I'll be honest with you, I don't know what to do about it. And that's an amazing, honest doctor. So I saw multiple specialists. I saw other functional medicine doctors. And I got a lot of opinions and a lot of conflicting information. But what was most important, it was conflicting with my body. At that point, as a pharmacist and a scientist, I knew that I had to become my own doctor. I left no stone unturned, I promise you. I looked at the clinical trials, I looked at the different experts out there, I spoke to different experts, and I had to create my own protocol. We live in the most advanced age. We're fortunate to live in an advanced age, but we also live in an industrial age where there are a lot of toxins out there. Probably hundreds or thousands times more than what we experienced 100 years ago. So we pay the price, the exposure to toxins. World Health Organization says that 7 million people die every year from toxins. Can you imagine the number? 7 million people worldwide. And that's not including people who are chronically sick and ill and undiagnosed or underdiagnosed. So today, I promise you that you will walk away with a bunch of pearls. If you are a doctor or clinician, you'll walk away with pearls that you apply in your clinical practice. And if you are a patient, I promise you, you'll know how to get better as far as heavy metals. So we'll talk about understanding what heavy metals are and their toxicities. We'll talk about how we're exposed to heavy metals. What are the health consequences of exposure, and which one of us are affected by heavy metals? And lastly, we'll discuss some of the most popular detox protocols and concepts. So how do you get mercury toxicity? Before I go into that, let me just tell you that heavy metals include a number of metals. But today, because I only have 18 minutes, I will talk about two most well-studied metals, which is mercury and lead. How do you get exposed to mercury? Mercury is one of the top most toxic substances in the world. So first is contaminated fish. If you're a fish lover, just like I used to be, and you eat a lot of tuna, shark, swordfish, or other large fish, you are exposed. You're potentially accumulating mercury. If you have dental amalgam fillings, those fillings are 50% mercury. So you are exposing your body to mercury vapors. And if you live in the industrialized area, you are absorbing and breathing vapor mercury into your body. There are others. There are some household items, such as CFL light bulbs. They have mercury. Over 100 pharmaceuticals are listed on the FDA website to contain mercury preservatives. Some cosmetics have mercury. Chinese and Indian herbal medicines. Some vaccines today, in 2019, still have mercury preservatives. An example is multi-dose flu vaccine. And simple items such as high fructose corn syrup. Elemental mercury is the most common exposure through amalgam fillings. This is a picture of a beautiful amalgam filling. There are countries today that have completely banned it. Russia, Denmark, Norway, Sweden do not allow amalgam fillings to be placed in their patient's mouth. But in the United States, as of today, it's perfectly legal and it's perfectly acceptable. The danger with amalgam filling is that over time there are mercury vapors coming out from the filling, and those are absorbed into our lungs, into our blood, our tissues. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words. If you have a phone, please take a picture of it. I only have 18 minutes, but it's a beautiful video to watch. We call it the smoking tooth video. They actually have, if you look at this is a hand holding an extracted tooth with a mercury amalgam filling. And upon stimulation and in front of the phosphorescent screen, you could see there is a vapor coming out from the mercury. That vapor is absorbed into our bodies. Let's talk about organic mercury. If you look at top of the picture, if you have a volcano or coal plant, if you live in a city that has coal-fired plants, methyl mercury is released into the atmosphere, and then it is absorbed into our oceans and seas. And small species such as krill or small fish is absorbing those heavy metals, that methyl mercury. The small fish is eaten by a larger fish, and the largest fish, such as shark, tuna, swordfish, is the heaviest as far as mercury toxicity. So if you are a fish lover, I urge you to reevaluate your habits. So heavy metal toxicity, is it a real medical condition? Well, I'll tell you this, long-term exposure to small amounts of mercury released over time results in various misdiagnosed and undiagnosed conditions. Those are the people that you see that go from doctor to doctor and they say, oh, it's all in your head. Your lab results are normal. You're okay. In my opinion, it's not only a real medical condition, it's a worldwide undiagnosed epidemic. In fact, current conventional practitioners, doctors, pharmacists, nurses, nurse practitioners, you name it, we're not trained on chronic effects of heavy metals. The main characteristics that I want you to take away from heavy metals is that they are neurotoxic, that means they're toxic to your nerves and your brain, and they're also carcinogenic, that means they cause cancer. Very dangerous. This is another picture that I'd like for you to take. And if you go to this link, you'll see a short video on how mercury causes brain neuron degeneration. And the second video is by Dr. Huggins, who was a dentist and an advocate against mercury amalgam fillings. Lead toxicity, most common metallic poison. It is especially toxic in kids, 5 times more toxic in kids than adults. In children, no system or organ is spared, and there are 900 occupations or more that lead to exposure. Where do you get lead? Well, ammunition. Why do I mention ammunition? If you're a hunter and you hunt with lead bullets and then you eat that meat, you're potentially exposed. Through auto exhaust, through hair dye. So if you're dyeing your hair with darker colors such as black or brown, you may be absorbing lead. If you live in a house that was built prior to 1970s, there are lead pipes. Those may be leaching lead into your water and you're exposing your body. Supplements from China or India. So it's very important to know which companies you're buying from. And gasoline today has traces of lead as well. So what are the health conditions that are caused by lead exposure? Well, there are many, and some of them are very nasty. MS, Parkinson's disease, mitochondrial damage, schizophrenia, seizures, developmental changes in kids, cognitive and behavioral changes. How do you diagnose heavy metal toxicity? Well, there are multiple ways, and it depends heavily on your specific situation and also on the doctor or specialist you're working with. First, you could draw your blood, but that only tells you acute exposure because most of the heavy metals are stored deep in your tissues. Some of them are stored in bones and some are deep in your tissues, including your brain. So blood work will not show you much. You could challenge your body by adding what we call as a chelating agent and pulling the mercury or lead out of the deep stores and seeing how much is excreted in the urine. You could also do what we call a HTMA, hair trace mineral analysis test. We believe hair is an extension of your body and it reflects your tissue levels of heavy metals. The test that I love particularly the most is TriTest, because it's unchallenged, it's uninvasive. We test your urine, blood, and we look at your hair. And the beautiful thing about this test is that this test will tell you if your mercury is from fish or from dental amalgam fillings. So I have a message for dental professionals. If you've been working with mercury, and most dental professionals today, as a tradition, they say, well, FDA says we're okay. It doesn't really increase my mercury level. Do yourself a favor, order a TriTest and test yourself. That test will tell you if your exposure to mercury in your career is causing you health issues. And of course, there is a simple way, an observational diagnostic trial of a chelator. You take a chelator over a period of time and you observe your body. This is my test, urine challenge test from January 2017. And if you could look at this, if you look at the mercury line, the two lines that are crossing the red, my mercury levels were 91. And the normal is 3 or below, 30 times normal. In fact, when someone looked at this, they said, where's this man in a hospital? I said, no, he's actually doing his thing. He's running his company. And the lead was 20, and the normal is 2 or below. Let me be clear, there's no normal level of heavy metals in your body. We should have none of it. This is my hair test, or HTMA, and this was taken in April 2017. If you look closely, this is 4 months after detox. My mercury level is still high, it's not crossing red anymore, and lead is sort of on the normal side, right? But if you look at the next test, which was in March 2018, also a hair test, my mercury levels and lead levels are more on the normal side. You don't even see them in the red. But what's tricky to the untrained eye, that mercury and lead are generally hiding. If you remember, I told you they are hiding in tissues, right? What you also need to look at is the minerals. And if you look on the bottom, almost all of the minerals are low. Heavy metals cause what we call mineral derangement. They affect your minerals. Minerals are fundamentals of life. If you have deficiency in minerals, you have a lot of nasty conditions creeping up on you, and most doctors don't even know where it's coming from. So something to think about. So what is the treatment of heavy metal toxicity? Before I go into this, I want to say that my learning and my journey with this rests on the shoulders of many giants who've dedicated their careers and lives to treatment of heavy metal toxicity. This is a serious, serious issue. So I want to name quite a few. Dr. Chris Shade, Dr. Dietrich Linhardt, and Dr. Andy Kotler. Those folks have dedicated their careers. But I believe heavy metal toxicity should be resting on 3 R's. First, you need to remove toxic source. Second, you need to replenish and heal your body. And lastly, remove heavy metals from your body. Let's talk about each one of them. So remove toxic source. If you have amalgam fillings, consider removing them. You need to remove them with a proper dentist. Going to a regular dentist and just drilling them out in an unsafe way will make you sicker. There are special precautions that need to be made. If you are a fish lover and you like a lot of large fish and you're enjoying that, please make radical changes in your diet, because most of the large fish is contaminated. And lastly, if you have an occupational exposure, consider protecting yourself. Replenish and heal your body. It's important to add minerals to your body, because remember, mercury and lead and others cause mineral derangement. You want to heal and prepare your gut. Consider taking a quality probiotic, colostrum, and some other agents. And lastly, you want to support your liver and kidneys. The last element is when you remove the heavy metals, you could do it through chelation and basically enhancing glutathione production. You want to decrease your body burden. And lastly, you want to optimize and use every elimination pathway possible. You want to use your GI tract, you want to use your kidneys, you want to use your skin. You're fighting a full-out war to get this poison out of your body. So my home takeaway message from you is that detoxification is a journey, it's not a marathon. It will take months and probably even years for you to fully detox your body. It involves customizations and then adjustments. The goal is for you to maintain the quality of life and to be productive, because a lot of people become disabled during this process. And you must be guided by the right professional and detoxification specialist. Can metal toxicity treatment hurt you? You bet you it can. I got hurt by it. So if you go to the specialist who did not properly assess you, and for example advises you on IV chelation with or without amalgams, or gives you IV glutathione with or without amalgams, you could potentially get hurt. So selecting the right practitioner and the right treatment option is very, very important. My message to you is that be the CEO of your own health in your own life. You're ultimately in charge. It's great to have a great practitioner guide you, but it's your life. You heard many people say, I will believe it when I see it. I tell you that you have to see that you're getting better. You have to believe that you're getting better, and the rest will follow. Our bodies have a tremendous ability to regenerate and to heal. So see yourself getting better, get the right practitioner, work with the right practitioner, and detox. I'm a big fan of Napoleon Hill, who is the father of motivation. And he says something that's beautiful. Knowledge is not power. It's only potential power that becomes real through use. I've presented to you a lot of knowledge today, but the power is with you to test yourself, to assess yourself, and to make sure you consult the right detox specialist to make sure that the bodies that are the most advanced mechanism on earth are experiencing joy, love, happiness, and fulfillment. I invite you to either consult us or find yourself a proper detox specialist and make sure you set your life on the right track. We have a table in the exhibit. I'll be thrilled to talk to you. Thank you.